capacitating all the skills that are needed in their library. So we really appreciate LIASA and Nevada for working together in ensuring that we are well established when it comes to the use of technology, more especially in our communities. So thank you so much. I guess you can start, but I can see that people are still joining. But I suggest that we start because last time when we had this type of webinar, time was not on our side. So I'm suggesting that we start, and then those who are joining late, I think they will catch the train. I don't know. What do you guys suggest? That's my suggestion.
There will be a recording, so they will catch the train, yes.
Thank you. Thank you for the way forward, Cholera. Thank you so much. So yeah, we are starting. So today we invited you to the second session of the Excel training. Remember, Excel is something which you cannot master it with one session. So we planned for the second session, and we are also going to have the third session. So today we'll be having our second session. The first session we had, and it was very much informative. So now we are moving to the second session. So we'll be having our speaker. So our speaker began his career in 2019 at the University of Limpopo. He was working as a facilitator there, responsible for facilitating the ICT programs. So in his role, he conducted trainings for first to final year students, as well as training them on basic computer literacy skills. And he started his career at the University of Limpopo as a lecturer in 2020, and he also worked for the University of KwaZulu-Natal, whereby he was also working as a lecturer there, facilitating ICT programs. So currently, he is working as a senior lecturer at the University of Limpopo under the program of Information Studies. So his studies include a 4-year Bachelor of Information Studies obtained from the University of Limpopo, master's degree in information studies, specializing in information systems networks. His research focus is on the application of cloud computing in libraries, and he also has a PhD in information studies, information science obtained from the University of South Africa. So this person has been recognized by the UNISA in 2022 under the Program of Research and Innovation Postgraduate Students Showcase Award for doctoral candidate. He also participated in international student exchange program at Michigan State University, a top-ranked university globally. So where he presented his PhD, of course. So this person that I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about Dr. AI Amorelang Isaac Mlauzi, who will be the speaker for today. So let's welcome Dr. Mlauzi on the podium. Thank you.
Good morning, colleagues. It's a pleasure to have you today. I'm going to project my screen so that we can start our session where we left last time. May you please confirm if you can see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen, Doctor.
Thank you so much. We're going to resume where we left last time when we met. This was the work that we spoke about, where I have demonstrated how to work with Excel, doing a library database that can be used to record user profile. Just for a recap, we spoke about merging cells, we spoke about data entry, we spoke about autofill, we spoke about autofit. We also spoke about different ways of pasting information on the Excel. Before we dismissed our session, there was a question. One of our attendees did ask if it's possible to copy information from a text format, meaning that is it possible to copy information from Word document to Excel document? Yes, it is possible. So I'm going to start by showing you how possible it is. Suppose you have your database in Word like this. This is your database. Is the user profile document that you have been using, where we have got the field name, would start with the user ID, etc. The question now is, how do you transfer this information? There are two ways that you can do. The first one, you can import and export. The second one, you can copy and paste. So in our context, I would advise everyone to copy and paste. Why? Because it is much simple if you start with the structure like this. For now, I have got a structure. If I've got a structure, it is easy to copy and paste. But if I'm going to import and export, the structure will need too much attention for me to rework it. But for now, what we're going to do, we're just going to copy this information on our Word document. You just select the first field or the first column. And when you copy, you must take care of the format or the shape. In our case, if you can have a look, we have got our user profile in a table. And this table is divided into columns and rows. And our information is going downwards. So we are copying within a column going downwards. And when you copy, you're not going to do the normal copy and paste. You copy like this. From there, you go back to your Excel spreadsheet. When you're on Excel spreadsheet, you can have a look that we have got our information, our field, our headings, let me say table headings, going on the row. In this case, our table headings are not going on the column, but you can decide as the creator, how do you want your table headings to appear? In this case, I want them to appear on a row. If I want them to appear like that, it means I cannot come here, select and paste. I have to just go anywhere else where I can do the placing. Then I decided to take an I column and I do what? I paste. And when I paste, remember when we spoke about the paste options? In this case, I will have to match the destination formattings so that whatever that I'm pasting on this spreadsheet can absorb the formattings of this spreadsheet. From there, I say paste. I have this information now on my spreadsheet, but it's not appearing as the table headings as I want it to appear. So now I want it to appear the way I want it to appear. The question is, how do I do that? I have to first select, and when I select, I have to be careful. I have selected until status, and when you check downwards the pointer, it says 19 row by 1 column. It means right now I have selected the 19 rows and I'm within 1 column. Then I do what? I say copy. I want to paste this on the field of my user profile database so that it can appear in a row column. From there, it means I have to do what? To select the 19 cells within this row. And when you select, you just check there, it will tell you that now you have selected so many cells. Let's check, let's go down. Okay, you can see now, I have selected 19 cells within one column. Then I do what? I say right click, I'm going to paste my table headings, but it's not going to be the normal paste. I'm going for special paste. This is how I go for the special paste. The special paste that I'm going to use in this case, we call it transpose. I say okay. Something went wrong. Let me quickly check what did I do. Okay. I copy. Then I must start here. Select the 19. Check 19, 19, 19, 19. First. Yes, 19. Then special. Now it's okay. It means last time I did select so many things and I was not aware that So every time when you select, you must be careful of what you're selecting. Like right now, you can see that I have selected one thing. I selected access need disability. It means that my selection was not correct. So this is one of the mistakes that one is likely to commit. So it means I have to undo. After undoing, I select again. So when you are doing selection, you need to be extra careful, because if you're not extra careful, you are likely to commit mistakes. And when you commit mistakes, you will think like you are not competent enough to work with Excel, not knowing that the only mistake that you did was to select. You see, now I made sure that my selection is okay. Let me copy. I have selected things that I want to paste. Then let me select here. I have to be extra careful and make sure that my selection is okay. 17, 18, 19. Then I'm going to do the special paste. Let's see. You see, now things went well because when I was selecting, I had to be extra careful. So all the times, any action that you take on an Excel spreadsheet, make sure that you are not in hurry, you relax, you do your things while paying full attention. Because if you don't do that, you are likely to commit problems. And once you commit problems, you're going to mess up with the document. So once you have done to copy these things, it means these ones are no longer important. You do what? You clear the content. That content is no longer in need. You clear the content. So we have cleared the content. By the way, it is my strategy to train people through an activity. While I'm doing this activity, I want to believe that people stand a better opportunity to absorb necessary skills that will help them to work with Microsoft Excel. So last time we did the match, but I did not show you how to unmatch things that you have done. So since our table headings have gone to column P, no longer fitting column F, it means our match needs to be extended. The question is, how do we extend our merged cells. It means you have to go back to under home and make sure you click on that F1 and you go under the merge. You do what? You unmerge cells. Once you've unmerged cells, you do again. You select from A1 up to where your heading cells end, which is going to be S1. Then you do what? You go back to merge and center. We merge and center. Now we have merged and centered our main heading. That is the main heading. So once you've merged and centered the main heading, you need to have the filter. The filter will help you to work with your information. Let's say, for instance, you have captured users' details on your user profile and you want to check email or you want to check something. You must have your headings appearing all the times, and you should be able to apply the filter. So for you to be able to apply the filter, it means you must start at A2. From A2, you select until the last column, which is S, and you go downwards until the last row, which can be 2 and 17. You know the total number of your users in the library. So in this case, we would say the total number is 217. If the total number is 217, then we need to just you do this. Yeah. Okay, you need to go under the tab called data on your ribbon. By the way, on your Excel spreadsheet, we have got a ribbon, and within each ribbon, we have got tabs. Within each tab, we have got groups and commands. So in this case, we go under the data tab. From data tab, we go to sort and filter group. Within sort and filter group, we have got filter there. You click on the filter. The filter will allow you to be able to filter the content through the table heading. So now you can notice that our table heading have this arrow, the arrow pointing downwards. When you click the arrow there, the arrow will allow you to do what? To apply the filter. Let's say here we had a male, we also had female. We also had the female. Let's say now you want to check the number of males within your library. It means you have to come on the filter and do what? Untick the females and remain with the male. You can also untick the blank, just remain with the male only. Then you say, okay. The filter will allow you to see males details only on your spreadsheet. That is how the filter works. Then now, remember, if you're on Excel spreadsheet, when you go down, the headings are going to disappear. So for the headings not to disappear, for you to be able to see the headings, even if you go to the user 217, you have to freeze the headings. The question now is, how do you freeze the headings? How do you freeze the headings? You freeze the headings. Let's say there are many ways that you can freeze the headings. The first one, you can just decide to say the first column after that particular heading. The first column after that particular heading, you do what? You go to view. You go to view tab. From view tab, we have got the window group. Within the window group, we have got freeze panels. Then you come here. In my case, let's say you come here. When you come here, you do what? You say freeze. When you freeze, you'll be able to do what? To freeze the first heading. And when you have freezed the headings above, when you scroll down, you see what is happening? These headings are not disappearing. But let's say these headings were not frozen. Let me do this. Let me unfreeze. I want you to see something. When I scroll down, you see what is happening? The headings, the table headings are disappearing. You can't see them. You can't tell whether on column E is email, contacts, what is it there? But for you to be able to tell, you have to make sure that these table headings are frozen. And how do you freeze them? You simply click on the first column, below those headings. Then you go to the freeze, then you do what? You freeze. Once you freeze, when you scroll down, do you see what's happening? The headings are now frozen, are not moving. You can go up to the last cell. You will still see your columns. You are able to tell that here we talk about gender, here we talk about contacts, here we talk about dates, etc. So now, we would say our database structure is okay. If our database structure is okay, we need to enter data now. And when you enter data, let's say you have to enter data of close to 200 library users. Sometimes you're likely to commit mistakes. Sometimes you're likely to commit mistakes as they come. Let's say you have got 10 library users on the queue and you want to be fast. For you to be fast, for things like date, gender, you can make use of what we call data validation. Data validation will allow you to avoid making mistakes because you just go there and click the available option. You go there, you click the available option. Let me give example of gender. So for you to work with data validation, what you need to do first, you need to select the range of cells where you want to apply that particular data validation. Once you've selected them, you can go under data. Then from data, we have got data tools. Under data tools, we have got data validation there. You click on the data validation. We have got data validation. You can see data validation there. You click on the data validation. Then under the data validation, we have got settings. These settings you can apply, you have to apply them to specify the kind of data validation you need. We start with the criteria. With the criteria, when you click the arrow pointing down, it will ask you, what do you want to use? Do you want to use time? Do you want to use date? Do you want to use list? In our case, because we have got male and female, we want to use lists. We want to use list. And if you want to use list, now it's asking you, where can I get the list? Meaning that where is the source for that particular list? In our case, we did not specify the source. If you did not specify the source of where the list can be obtained from, it means you won't be able to do it to carry on with the list. Then this means you have to start afresh. You need to close, come back to your sheet, insert a new sheet. On a new sheet, you can have the list here. You'll have male. You also have female. Then this one, you can just name it as the, let's say, data validation sheet. Data validation sheet, so that you know that every time when you want a list, you come under the data validation sheet. Then you go back to your sheet, the master sheet. This will call it a master sheet because it's where the user database, where a user details are captured. Then you go back to master sheet. Then we have got data validation. You click on data validation. The value, you're going to set the criteria. We want a list, the source. You click on the source, the arrow pointing up. It will allow you to select the source. You know that your source is within the data validation sheet. You click on the data validation sheet. You select both male and female. You say enter. From enter, you say okay. Once you say okay, you're going to start with the first person. You'll start with the first person. So for the first person, let's say the person came, you had to capture the name. The name was Isaac. Then the gender, you have to key in the gender now. Instead of you typing male or a female, immediately we are within gender cell for this Isaac. There will be this arrow pointing down. It will be active. The arrow pointing down, when you click on it, it will allow you to decide whether this Isaac, is it a female, or this Isaac, is it a male? Then that's how the data validation works. Then now, when you continue to contact, let's say for instance, you give the contacts of this Isaac, you have entered the contacts, but when you move to another cell, you can notice that now the contacts do not have 0. And you will ask yourself, why the contacts do not have 0, whereas I have indicated the 0 when I was keying in the contacts of Isaac. So for this contact colon to take 0, you have to format the colon. How do you format the colon? You select the entire colon until the last number of your user profile. Then you right click. When you right click, you will have the format cells. Under the format cells, when you click there, we have got text. Why do we have to format a Excel spreadsheet under text for the contacts? It is because the Excel recognizes 0 as text. It recognizes 0 as text. So now when you have instructed Excel that whatever that is within this cell, it must appear as text. When you key in 0, it will appear. Now you can key in any contact number. Let's key in any contact number. You will see that the contact number now can take 0. Any question? I feel like today I'm too fast. Any question before I carry on? I have tackled so many things within short space of time.
Okay,
Any question?
I think maybe if there are any questions that we can just receive them on the chat, then I will just pause you if there's any question coming in. But I think you can proceed.
Okay. I'm glad to hear that there are no questions so far, because I don't find myself pushing. Towards the end of the session, people couldn't hear anything that the speaker was talking about. Okay, now let us assume that you have user details. You have captured user details there within your user profile. So you want to start with statistics. So that you can report to your to your line manager. You want to tell the line manager how many females you have, how many males you have, so that you know the number of people within the library. Let me quickly do this so that we can assume that we have these details. I just want to copy and paste so that I can show you what I want to do, because completing this will take time. Yeah, let's say we have got this information is captured well. It's captured well. We can come here and say, have another sheet. We name it user numbers. I don't know how you will be working on your database, but in my case, I can say user numbers because I want to count users in my library. Now we are moving into formulas. We are moving into formulas. We are done with data entry. We are moving into formulas. So we are going to use different formulas to count users that are available in our library. So we have got females. We also have male. So now we need to understand how many male do we have in our database? How many female do we have in our database? So Excel can save much of your time. Instead of you coming on the database and say 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., you simply make use of the Excel functions to understand this, to have the numbers. Then how do you have the numbers? You go to the sheet where you named it user numbers. Now you want to count the male. You also want to count the female. So we can say, yeah, we want to know the number of male and the number of females. Remember, when you deal with Excel, to apply or to employ or to deploy functions, you must instruct an Excel through an equal sign. When you key in the equal sign, you are basically telling the Excel that now I am going to apply function or formula. Remember, we have got a formula and a function. A function is a built-in formula. Formula is when you simply key in the formula as it is, equal sign 1 plus 1, we call it formula. But function, the moment I say equal sign sum, that part we call it a function. So you say equal sign, we have got a function that we use to count. That function, we call it count if. It is count if function. And remember, with Excel always make your way of working easy. Once I say equal sign, I know that the function that I want to use is count if. Once I say count if, it's going to suggest you the available functions in line with what you are typing. So in this case, I want the count if. When I say the count if, is going to start the count if function and allow me to do the other part. And it also show you how you are expected to work around this function. If you can have a look, it says now you need the range. After the range, you must have the semicolons. From the semicolons, you must have the criteria. So I'll explain this as we move on. Let's start with the range. The range, it simply talks about the number of cells where you want to count this male from. So in this case, our range will be within our master sheet. It means D2, that's where our range is going to start. So we need to select from D2. You click on D2, you select going down. Let's say our database ends at D18, that's where it ends. Or we can say D24, D26, that's where it ends. Then you release. Then if you can have a look, we have got formula bar. Remember last time we spoke about formula bar? Formula bar, I said, is a position where whatever that is within the cell appear. So you go back to formula bar, you click where the range ends. Immediately you click where the range ends. This example will come and showing you what is next. What is needed now is semicolons. And the issue of semicolons, you do not have to memorize, because this one depends on the region of your computing device. Some other computing device, it may be comma, some others it may be full stop. But in my case, my punctuation is semicolon. I have semicolon now. Once I have semicolon, it needs a criteria. A criteria, it talks about something that I want to count within the specified range of cells. So it means I have to go back to user number sheet. What do I want to count? I want to count May. I want to count May, meaning that you just click on A2. When you click on A2, it's a cell A2, by the way. But on the cell, there is something within that cell which is May. And that May is what you want to count from the selected range of cells. Then from there, you say enter. When you say enter, it will tell you that within those selected range of cells, you have got 12 males. So going for the females, there is what we call cell reference, and there is what we call absolute cell reference when we work with Excel. The two allow you to do copying, allow you to copy either functions or formulas to save time. Let's say there were so many things that you have to count. If there were so many things that you have to count, if there are books, you have to count the books that were bought out. You can't go for each item. You key in the functions, What you can opt for is absolute cell reference or relative cell reference. So in our case, we want to go for absolute cell reference. How does absolute cell reference work? It works by copying the formula or the function. How? We click on 12. We want to copy this formula, by the way. If we want to copy this formula, by the way, remember we had the range of cell. In our case, the range of cell remained the same because that's where we're going to copy the female. If it remains the same, it means we have to lock it. How do we lock it? You click between D and 3. D and 3, remember, is a coordination of the cell. So we click there, then you apply absolute cell reference, which is the $sign. How do you apply the $sign? You press F4 on your keyboard. You press F4 on your keyboard. When you press F4 on your keyboard, this will appear. This will appear. Then you go again for the D26, F4. Then this will appear. Then as for A2, you do not lock it. By the way, the $sign, we use them to lock the cell. We use it to lock the cell. So we have logged our range of cells using the absolute cell reference. So in this case, we do not have to log the A2 because our A2 is the criteria that we want to count within the selected range of cells. We leave it as it is, we say enter, then we also click again on the number, the counted number, which is B2. We just go to the bottom corner, we do what? We copy. Then once we copy, we have got 4 female. We have got 4. So that's how we do what? We make use of the absolute cell reference to count what is within the range of cells. You can count books. There are a lot of things that you can count. So in this case, we used it to count the number of male who are within our library. We also used it to count the number of females who are within our library. And you can also make use of it to, you can also do what? You can also use the 2 numbers to get the total. I know you know how to get the total, but just for a recap, to get the total is going to be equal sign 12 plus 4. This is a formula because I had to key in everything. But if you don't want to make use of the formula, you can make use of the function, which is going to be equal sign sum. Then you click on the sum, then you add 12 and 4. You simply do what? You simply select the range of cells where you want to add, then you say enter. Then it's still 16. So
sorry, Doctor, there is a question before you move on. There's a question that wants to know if there's a difference between sum, subtotal, and count if when calculating the total numbers of item. If so, when do we use each function in Excel? And the person says that they would appreciate if there's any examples that you can give.
okay. Thank you for the question. The difference between sum, subtotal, count if. Yes, there is a difference. There's a difference. These things are different. The sum and count if are not the same. But as for subtotal, before I give an answer, let me confirm something. I haven't heard of such. Subtotal, there is a subtotal. I never used subtotal before. But let me talk about sum and count if, because I have used them before. With the sum, you simply do calculation to get the total of added numbers. But with count if, you count what is within the cell. Like we have got 20 cells. Within this 20 cells, we have got boys and girls. So we want to know number of boys and number of girls within these 20 selected cells. So for us to know the total number of boys and the total number of girls within these selected 20 cells, we have to use count if. The count if is going to count the total number of boys and the total number of girls within the 20 selected cells. But as for subtotal, I haven't used it before. I haven't used it before. I will check it. Then when we meet in the next session, I will tell you how different it is. Did I answer the question?
I hope so, but the person will say if they still need any clarity on the chat. Thank you, Doc. You can continue.
Okay, thank you so much. Then now we have counted the number of female and the number of male. We also got the total. Sometimes some of the line managers would say, we prefer you to report using percentage. To say we have got 20%, 30%. If your line manager prefer reporting in percentage, the question is, how do you calculate percentages? How do you calculate percentages? Since you have got the total number of male and the total number of female, for you to calculate percentage, you need to make sure that you have the total of the two combined. Once you have the total, you go next to the male, you're going to say equal sign, 12 male, then you divide by the total. Then once you divide the total, you say enter, it will say 0.75. 0.75 is a percentage. What you need to do is to select the cell, format the cell with percentage. And how do you format the cell with percentage? You need to be under the home tab. When you're within the home tab home, you go to percentage, you click on the percentage. You will see the 75 changing to a 75%. You do the same with the female. Equal sign 4 divided by 16, which is the total. Enter. Then you activate that C3. You make it percentage. Once you make it in percentage, one would see that we have got 12 male making 75%, etc. So once you have percentage like this, others would say, would prefer you to have charts just for illustration. We want you to illustrate what you are reporting on. The question is, how do you make charts out of this data you have? For you to make charts, you need to go under the select. From select, we have got different charts here. If you check, we have got a group named charts, then you can go for specific charts that you prefer. In my case, I prefer pie chart because this is just the gender. For gender, I prefer a chart. And let me just specify this, that is gender. Okay, I prefer pie chart. I want 3D pie chart. This is my 3D pie chart. So you need to select data so that your chart can give you the visual representation of the data. You go select data. From select data, you need to add the legend entries. Then you say add. It says series name. The series name will be the chart title. In this case, our chart title will be the gender. Then the series values. In this case, it will be our percentages. It will be 75 and 25, meaning that you need to select them once so that they appear as as a range of selected cells. Then you say, okay, there is an error in the something. Cancel and select again. Okay, it means I mistakenly entered something by. Okay, say okay. No, again I made a mistake. Once you made a mistake, you know that there are two items that are supposed to appear. There are two items that are supposed to appear. It means you have to do it. You have to edit. When you edit the chart labels, let me just do this. I have to edit. Come back here, cancel everything. Then I want this to only. Enter. You see now there are two things that are appearing. I also have to edit the labels. Our labels is male and female. I say enter, okay. From okay, I say okay. Then this will be our chart representing the stats on the gender, number of female and females. And if you want to format your chart, you can still do so. You can still format your chart. These are different chart styles. You can decide how you want to format your chart. You want it to have percentage. If you want this percentage to go outside, you can just come and click on the percentage. You drag it towards the outside the chart. Then that will be the chart giving you the visual representation of the data. So this is all that I wanted to cover in today's session. Today I made sure that everything is within the allocated time and we have got time for questions.
Okay,
Chair,
thank you
to
very
facilitate the
much.
question.
Yes, thank you very much, Doctor. There is a question, or the person was saying that they understand now. Sum is used for numbers and count if for strings or text to calculate in cells. Thanks. So they were just saying that they did understand when you were explaining. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Xolelwa. We have come to our question and answer session. So if you have any question, please make sure that you do put it on the chat. I see that there is a hand. So Aphelele, if you can just assist me there. Unokulunga Mkize wants to ask a question, and then it will be Adebisi Dawodu. I hope I said it correctly, and then they will follow. So if Nokulunga, your mic is on, can you please just switch it on, and then you can proceed asking your question. Nokulunga, your mic should be on, or otherwise, Adebisi, you can just come in. You should be able to speak. Okay, I'm not sure if Aphelele, we do if there's anything that is wrong with their mics, but if you can just unmute and then proceed with asking your question. Okay, thank you very much. You can go ahead. Oh, I thought I heard somebody who was speaking. Okay, Apiwe. Apiwe, you can proceed. Okay, I don't know if I'm not hearing them, colleagues. Can you just confirm if you are hearing the colleagues that are asking questions?
We can't hear them, Xolelwa.
Okay.
Sorry, Xolela, Lebo here. I'm
Yes.
assisting Aphelele. He's
Oh,
currently
okay.
busy with something else. Their
Oh, okay.
mics are on. They've been given the rights to speak. They should just unmute and then speak.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Lebo, for confirming. Okay, so any of the people that wants to ask the question, I see Apiwe, your hand was up, your mic is on. Nokulunga, I see that your hand is still up. You can just go ahead and ask your question, or otherwise Adebisi. So if there's no other questions, I would appreciate if you can then send on the chat so we can just, if you are having problems with your microphones. But I'll just maybe for a second see if they can ask. Okay, so I'm not sure what is happening with those mics. I'm not sure if there's any other questions that you would want to ask colleagues. Otherwise, we can then just call it a day. Actually, we're just talking. Okay, is there anyone who's speaking? Okay. Anyway, we're just talking, Doctor, about how, Excel, until you get to use it, that's when you like, I need these functions. And this morning, what I was learning is how to really use Excel. And one of the things that I learned, which I have never used, was the data function. And it's something that I'm going to be using forward going on. But I'm also looking forward to the next session, which is going to be an advanced one. And I know sometimes it might look like, we're not understanding, but we're actually grasping the information until the time comes when we have to apply those. And whether we are using it for reports, whether we're using for our statistics, for bookkeeping, whatever we are using, I know that librarians do use Excel, and we appreciate that you have come this morning to give us your expertise when it comes to Excel. And I want to say thank you very much again that you took out your time just to train the librarians. And I can really attest that we have really learned a lot this morning, and we continue to learn. And we just want to say very, very much thank you. And colleagues, as I said, I think let me just switch on my mic. My camera actually. Yes, so this is Xolelo Tlhogile, as I said, and I am the imaging librarian for 2024. And the person that opened this morning was Mr. Simon Mujabilu, who is the imaging librarian for 2023. And I just want to say thank you very much to the sponsor of this webinar. These webinars actually made possible by Nevada, and of course, who is the sponsor of the Emerging Librarian and LIASA. We just want to say thank you very much for continuing to partner with us. We're having these sessions to impart to the librarians and making sure that our field is growing. And I thank you to everyone who came this morning. Took their time just to learn from the training this morning. And I hope that you did learn something, and then you are taking anything from these trainings to apply it into your everyday, whether reporting or whatever you are going to be using the Excel in. And thank you very much to Ms. Lebu, who stepped in on behalf of Aphelele, and just to LIASA for making sure that we do have this webinar. And please be on the lookout for the advanced one, which is coming up. We will send an invite. It will be out, and that's where you can register. And I just want to say thank you very much. If you want to catch this recording, it will be made available on the LIASA News that is on YouTube. So you can just share with your colleagues who could not be here, or if you want to refresh on what we have learned this morning. And if there's nothing, I just want to say thank you very much. I hope that you do enjoy your Wednesday morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you.